Welcome friends, let us discuss test number 8. Now the first question is explain the relevance of land reforms in eradication of rural poverty and causes for failures of land reform in India. So first of all, you can explain what is land reform means in case of India, what has been the philosophy of land reforms in India. The philosophy of land reforms in India, as suggested by Gandhi, was land to the tillers. So, we wanted to give ownership of land to the peasants and the tillers, and this was considered as a means by which we can provide a means of subsistence and we can reduce the social and economic inequalities in the country. So land reforms were considered to be the redistribution of land, ending the concentration of land as mentioned in Article 39B and C of the Directive Principles, and giving it to the poor, because this was considered as the fundamental strategy to deal with rural poverty, hunger, and backwardness. So the question is, how relevant is the land reform for eradication of rural poverty? So poverty is the problem of redistribution, and the colonial legacy was that land got concentrated in the hands of few. It is not important how much production has happened, but it is important that production has happened where. So if production happens in the field of the poor, we can provide them a life of dignity. We can provide them a source of employment. So land reform is the basic structural reform. If we see the examples of West Bengal and Kerala, the two states have a better record in eradication of poverty, basic poverty. Besides that, the two states have a better record in human development indicators, and the basic reason is the success of land reforms. Now the question says causes for the failure of land reforms. There are multiple causes. First cause is as suggested by Atul Kohli, is the domination of the upper class elites in the Congress. The second, you can say, the elitist judiciary, the elitist bureaucracy. Besides this, our federal structure, where the state leadership had limited incentives to bring land reforms. So multiple causes has led to the failure of land reforms. There have been the lobby against the land reform. There were also many technical concerns like absence of land records, lack of awareness, lack of the commitment on the part of Government of India. You can also mention Gunnar Myrdal making or suggesting that India is a soft state because of the poor implementation of the policies. Now question number 2, what are the weaknesses of 74th Amendment Act? You can tell that whether 73rd or 74th Amendment Act, they are considered as a half-baked cake. 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, you can also say that they provide certain institutions, certain structures, but do not give enough powers. So that is why even after more than 20 years, nothing substantial has changed in urban governance. The major problem which these bodies face is the inadequacy of funds, functions, and functionaries. So there has always been the problem of funds. There has been a lack of staff. Bureaucracy has not been responsive, and has been a lack of clarity because there is an overlapping with many other institutions like DRDAs, special purpose vehicles. So actually the real will to assure the real democratic decentralization has been missing. Now the question expect recent steps. You can talk about recent steps for improving urban governance, uh, like 14th Finance Commission has given suggestions to improve the finances. Then Government of India is taking steps like Amrit, Smart City, uh, Mohalla Sabha, clinics, these type of suggestions, these type of amendments, these type of improvements may play a role in changing the face of urban India. Now, question number 3, what are the grassroots movements? So, as the word itself explains, these are the movements which develop organically at the local level. So, these are the movements which develop organically at the local movement. You can give the examples of grassroots movements like RTI movement, Narmada Bachao Andolan. Now the question is, in what way grassroots movements are changing the discourse of Indian democracy? So in this context, you can say that democracy has been dominated by the elite class, but grassroots movement can be considered as the growth of participatory and deliberative democracy. We can also say the new wave of democratization awareness has grown in the country. Now, next question number 4. Explain the weakness of interstate water dispute redressal system with reference to Kaveri water dispute. So, give suggestions to reform the system of tribunal. Here you can mention the constitutional provision which provides for creation of the tribunals. The major weaknesses has been that the tribunals initially Interstate Water Dispute Act had the problems because it has not mentioned the time within which tribunal had to be constituted. It has not mentioned the time within which tribunal has to come up uh, with its award. There has been lack of clarity with respect to that, and though interstate water dispute excludes the jurisdiction of Supreme Court, yet the parties have reached to the Supreme Court, and as India has an activist judiciary, Supreme Court has accepted these cases under a special leave petition. So politicization of the issue at the local level, lack of sufficient and required adequate role which union government should have played, uh, that has been one of the factor for the weakness of the tribunal system. Kaveri water dispute shows that it took a lot of years from 1972 till almost 20 years 2017. Still Kaveri water issue remains or is not resolved. Number of times so many technical issues have come. Center has done unnecessary delay in the constitution of the tribunal, then unnecessary delay in giving the award of the tribunal, unnecessary delay in the publication of the award, and lack of willingness on the part of the states to comply with the award of the tribunal. So all these things have complicated the situation. Now the question is, suggest how nature of federalism is changing with the change in the party system and economic policies. So you can give the concept that normally with federalism, presidential form of government is more suitable because parliamentary system distorts the functioning of federalism, and federalism starts operating in a different way because of the party politics. In case of India, it is said that India does not have any center state issues. India has a party to party issues. So Indian federalism, conceptualized as the cooperative federalism, worked well till it was a Congress system and when center and state both had the same parties. But since the time different parties started coming to power in the state, the tensions have started coming up. At the same time, besides the party system, as coalition politics became the phenomena at the central level, then our federalism has changed, and we see that the states had gained more bargaining power. Similarly, economic policies, as we have gone for new liberal economic policy where the role of private sector has increased and where the rolling back of the functions of a state has taken place, there has been a reduction in the reliance of the state governments with respect to their dependency on the union government. So the new coalition politics and the new economic policy has strengthened the, the federal feature of Indian constitution. Now question number 6. Do you think economic reforms taken in India have resulted into the jobless growth? So here you have to give some data. That data is given that what has been the rate of growth of employment before the reform period. It was 2.7% per annum, and between 1994 to 2000 it stood around 1.07. Similarly, the growth has the economic reforms has impacted India's agriculture and manufacturing sector. The growth has been limited more to the service sector, and it has impacted the fundamental or the, you can say, the backbone of Indian economy. And at the same time, economic reforms have enhanced the regional imbalance because much of the investment has went to the richer states, and thus this imbalance has increased. And you can also give the reason because it is based on the neoliberal policies, and neoliberal policies are based on survival of the fittest, and it focuses more on increasing growth rather than distributive justice. Now write a short note on GST. You can say that it's one of the most important indirect tax reforms, and its impact on the center and state relations. The impact on the center-state relation is it would require a constitutional amendment in the center-state relations, financial relations, but at the same time it forces or it strengthens the cooperative federalism and pooling of sovereignty, though there are issues of some states who fear the loss of revenue, but at the same time it has provided institutions for resolution of these conflicts like GST Council, and maybe GST will help India to become one market, and this will strengthen the cooperative federalism in India. Write next question number 8. Write short note on role of women in panchayats. So you can talk about the reservation provision for women in panchayats. You can also write that there has been a positive impact of panchayats, a reservation for women in panchayats. Study shows that wherever women have been the sarpanch, those panchayats have done better. Similarly, panchayats have also increased the confidence of the women, and hence it has made our democracy more inclusive, and women have performed very good wherever the women sarpanch have been there. There have been good performance of panchayats, and so you can write that it has been a positive development towards making our democracy more inclusive. Now question number 8b. Discuss the features of asymmetrical federalism found in Indian constitution. So asymmetrical federalism where all the units do not have equal status. So here we do not have equal representation of all states in Rajya Sabha. There are special provisions with respect to certain states. So Indian federalism is an example of asymmetrical federalism, whereas US federalism is an example of symmetrical federalism. So these are some basic ideas, and a lot of factual information is required, so you can refer to the answers provided.